poppin' YouTube family? It's your boy, the White. Welcome back to the channel, Silverback Sillage. Hope all is well with everybody. First off, do me a huge favor. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you be notified when I post new content. Now, today's an extra special video because I'm in collaboration with SCENTual Obsessions again. And my guy Kevin over there sent me a good care package of 6 fragrances that he want me to give my 2 cents on. And an additional one that I'm going to compare to a fragrance that's already in my collection. So if you'd like to find out what he sent me, keep it locked. Well, let's get down to the meat and potatoes. Like I stated before, I've been sent a very, very nice care package by my guy Kevin over at SCENTual Obsessions. And I'm going to not only grade these fragrances almost as if they were individuals, but I'm also going to acknowledge the fact that they are inspired by other fragrances on the market. Here is the box presentation of my 6-pack here. Go ahead and open that up. It's 6 5-ml samples. Put that up here, let that rest over there. SCENTual Obsessions card. Here's what those 5-ml samples look like in the package. And we're just gonna go down the line testing them. But before I get to that point, I also have a 1 ounce 30 ml sample of, here's the box presentation for that. And it's also basically a clone or inspired by fragrance of Gucci Guilty Elixir. And here's that bottle presentation because they got new bottles with SCENTual Obsessions. Convict Elixir is the name for that one. So let's start with our samples first, and then I'll do the comparison at the end of the video. So first up, we're looking at a fragrance by the name of King, Absolute King. And it's inspired by Aventus Absolute. Let's see how close that they got to that scent DNA. Couple sprays there in the air. I can smell it in the air too. Let's go over the notes. We got grapefruit, bergamot, blackcurrant, mid notes of ginger, cinnamon, citron, base notes of cardamom, pink pepper, patchouli, and vetiver. Very, very fruity and blackcurrant heavy in the opening. Very, very mass appealing scent profile. I have smelled Creed Aventus, the absolute, the real deal one before. So I'm familiar with this scent DNA. Now here's what I can say about that one. Because it smells really, really good. But he didn't quite capture the cinnamon and ginger spice in the opening that you would get with the actual Absolute Aventus. But nobody's going to be able to dupe or clone a fragrance 1,000,000%. Like 1 for 1 is very, very rare in perfumery. But this is a very, very nice scent profile that I like a whole lot because I love the scent, the Creed Aventus DNA overall. Smells really, really good. Let me get one more whiff before I give it a rating. Scale from 1 to 10. Yeah, from 1 to 10, I give this one an 8. Because of the lack of the spice mixed in there and those allspices that come in the actual Creed Aventus Absolute. I give this one an 8. It's one that I definitely plan to put in rotation and get some fragrance wearers out of it. I don't know if I can say that it's full bottle worthy as of yet because I haven't got a chance to really test it and go out and about to see if at some point that ginger / cinnamon spice begins to catch up with the fruity opening. But it's a very pleasant scent profile that I do like a lot. Next one. The next fragrance is called Tonka Absolute. And this is inspired by a discontinued fragrance, which I've told y'all before. I love when fragrance houses take a fragrance and clone something that's discontinued that you can't get your hands on without spending an arm and a leg for. So that already gives this some cool points. But let's see what the scent profile's like. It's cloning Pure Tonka, if I didn't already say it, by Mugler. Tonka Absolute has top notes of lavender, tonka bean for the mid note, and base notes of coffee, vanilla, patchouli, cacao, and licorice. It's a really, really good, somewhat powdery scent profile. The tonka bean is definitely the leader, but I do smell the lavender in the background. But the tonka bean, hence the name of what it was actually, hence the name of what the fragrance is called, versus what it's actually cloning. It makes sense. This is very sweet, dark. Has a little bit of a gourmand touch because I can smell the licorice as well. In this opening, I don't really pick up much of that coffee though, but that might be why it's listed in the base notes. But I do get the vanilla. Not a lot of patchouli. Tonka bean to the max though. Smells really, really good. I could have swore most of those Mugler fragrances did have a boozy hint to them. I'm not really picking up any booze in this one. But the tonka bean is good quality tonka bean in here. Mixing with that lavender punch and some vanillas is what I'm really picking up on this one here. Scale from 1 to 10 on this one, I'm giving it about a 7. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think the original had some booze in it. But even if it didn't, it probably had an ambery nuance of some kind that would remind you of some booze. And I'm not really picking that up here, but it's a pleasant scent profile. And I would even maybe go as far as giving it a 7.5, 7.7 just for the creativity to be able to go in and clone something that you can't get your hands on without spending an arm and leg for it. Next one on the list. This is King of Kings 3.0, and it's inspired by Creed Aventus batch 13ZZ01, which I ran into a guy out of town that actually had this batch. So let me see from what I remember recently how close Kevin got. I can smell that in the air. This one here has top notes of bergamot, blackcurrant leaves, apple, pink pepper, heart notes of pineapple, which I can smell from here, birch, patchouli, jasmine, and rose, with base notes of musk, oak moss, ambergris, and vanilla. Pineapple bomb, that's for sure. And the bergamot is up front too. I'm not getting a whole slew of smokiness, but enough of it to where you know for a fact what he was going after with this scent profile. Out of the 3 that I've smelled thus far, this is my favorite. Smells like 100% quintessential Creed Aventus. And this is, I would have to say, probably the glory days of this scent profile. Back when we really, really were getting what we wanted out of a bottle of Creed Aventus versus what you get now, which is a shell of what it used to be. The smoky birch is starting to come in a little bit more now. Ambergris and vanilla. So I will say this one thus far is my favorite of what I've smelled thus far. This one, scale from 1 to 10, I give it a 9. Because I love the original Creed Aventus scent profile. And he got really, really close with that one. Next one on the list here. He went after a Mind Games fragrance. And he went after French Defense. And his version is called Defense de France. De France. Let's see what we got here. Let's give her a spray, see how close he got. A half smell. And I have a sample of French Defense that I will be doing a review on at some point in 2026. Let's go through the top notes. We got cherry, violet leaves, chamomile, heart notes of geranium and mimosa, base notes of amber, blonde woods, and cedar wood. This one here is giving me a very cherry heavy, which hence the name. French Defense does have a black cherry accord in there and some booze. I'm not seeing any booze listed for this one, but I guess the mimosa is supposed to be the booze accord in this. But what I'm getting more of is cherry, some rose, a little bit of an amber nuance, I might be able to even go with a little bit of chamomile relaxing smell to it. But the cherry and the mimosa accord is what I get the most of with the rose. The rose and cherry being the top two. This one here gives me a little bit of a cough syrupy vibe. I can't say that it's nowhere near as smooth as the French Defense. This one here is probably my least favorite out of the 4 I've smelled thus far. And this one's about a 6. Next one. The next one is called King of Queens. And this is inspired by Baccarat Rouge 540 EDP. So let's see how close he got with this one. Sweet cotton candy vibes. I don't see notes on his site for this particular fragrance here, but what I do get is that typical Baccarat Rouge cotton candy saffron heavy sweetness. I'm assuming that this is definitely the EDP version, which is what I'm looking at on their website, because I don't get that that almond vibe that you get from the Absolute. Not Absolute, but the straight version of Baccarat Rouge. Sweet, saffron, cotton candy vibes. This is really sweet. A lot closer to Baccarat Rouge than I would have to say that French Defense was, the French Defense. But I'm not the hugest fan of Baccarat Rouge scent profile, so the ones that I got are different, like inspired by fragrances that I do have for that fragrance. Is the reason why I haven't ran to go get Baccarat Rouge. Will I eventually own the original? Probably so, just because if I'm going to experience the scent profile, I would like to experience it at its highest level. But it's nowhere near in the top probably 50 bottles of fragrance that I'm going to buy soon. That one there gets a rating of about 6.5. Next one and last of the 6-pack of 5 ml fragrances. This one is called Purple Rain, and this is inspired by Andy Warhol by Bond Number 9, which you guys know from the other iterations from SCENTual Obsessions that I've got on this channel. It's one of my favorites, if not my favorite scent profile that Kevin makes over there, and I would love to get my nose on the original Andy Warhol. But how did he do with this one? Or how is this one different from the other ones that I got? Top notes on this one, you got plum, cypress, citruses, and bergamot. Mid notes of agarwood being oud. You got French labdanum, rose, patchouli, jasmine. Base notes of vanilla, sandalwood, and alabama, and musk. This one here has a little bit of a stronger plum note in it up top, but the oud has been gassed up in this one a little bit more too, amped up, so to speak. I do get a little bit of vanilla and some rose. I don't recall really getting much rose in any of the other iterations of this, but this plum and oud in this one is banging. He really dialed up the plum sweetness and prevalence. But he dialed up the oud, but he didn't dial it up in a way to where it's like off-putting or stank or any of that. He just made sure that it gives you a little bit of a more of a masculine edge as far as the oud being present in the woods. This one here has taken over as my favorite of the 6, with the Creed Aventus 13 ZZ batch being number 2. This is number 1 for me. Scale from 1 to 10, 9.2. It would have to either be a 9.2 or a 9.0, just like the Aventus one, and the Aventus one gets bumped back to 8.5. But this one here is number 1 out of the 6. He keeps knocking them out the park with these Andy Warhol batches. and the different little tweaks that he does with them. But I like all of them. There's never a bad time when it's cool outside, from being late fall to all throughout winter, to be able to crack that out. But every once in a while, I'll spray on Andy Warhol when it's warmer outside, like spring-like weather, but not the dead of heat, with the ones that have more oud in them than the one that's the most fruity without as much oud. But that one's really, really good. They make very, very good inspired by fragrances. Kevin be clowning with that. So he's very talented at that, and I appreciate this care package here. So I have one more comparison. It's Gucci Guilty Pour Homme Elixir versus Convict Elixir. And I'm trying to see how close he got. One moment here. Okay, let's give the OG a spray first. Let that sit there. I'm not even going to go for notes for this one. I just want to go how close he got. Good pressurized atomizer on his new bottles. So that was definitely a good quality addition to these bottles. Put that there. Let's go with the OG first. Powdery, like in the video I've said before. Very fresh. So you get some freshness with this. And strength. Very, very mass appealing scent profile too. Let's go to the clone. Clone seems to be a little bit more citrusy than the OG. Almost like there's a lemon accord or something in it. Let me pull this up here. I'm going to go ahead and pull up Convict and see exactly what's in it. Convict Elixir. See if he has any notes on here. I don't see any notes, but I see what it's inspired by. There's a citrusy accord in here that's throwing me a little bit. This one definitely has more of the iris nuances to it, and it's a lot more powdery than the clone. This one here is more citrus heavy. It should have had more iris put into the mix. This here is either a 9.5 or right at a 10 for me for designer fragrances. So it's going to be tough to compete with that. This one here, about an 8. He captured the scent profile. He didn't dial up the iris enough, or it might be the type of iris that he used, to where it's allowing the citruses in the opening to kind of drown out the iris. Good fragrance, like I said, about an 8, 7.5, 8. Out of all of them, I like Purple Rain the best, the Andy Warhol clone. Second would be King of Kings, which would have been that 13 batch of Creed Aventus. Third for me would be the Creed Absolute Aventus clone. Fourth for me will be the Elixir clone, the Convict Elixir clone. Fifth will be King of Queens, the Baccarat Rouge dupe. And coming in the rear would be the French Defense clone. Because to me, it just captured a lot of cherry and a lot of rose. But it missed the mark on a lot of the other nuances that fragrance has. But it's a very, very kind of a complex fragrance within the boozy world. So it wasn't going to be easy to capture all that anyway. But that one brings up the rear. But overall, like I've always told you about SCENTual Obsessions, they come out with quality dupes. Quality inspired by, but they even have their own creations that they blend up that are all have been quality since I've been trying them. And Kev, keep on pushing on. I appreciate the care package, but that's my time with these good offerings. Peace.